So thank you for watching. I'm Rob Mackay, Managing Director of Sherrington, and we're an executive search firm recruiting sustainable leaders for clients with purpose. And over the coming weeks, we're going to be discussing all things talent, in particular, the subject of purposeful careers. So in episode 1, we addressed the Great Resignation. Why is it happening? What does it mean for our ability to attract talent? And we were lucky enough to be joined by Ben Tolhurst, a director of Business Declares, a movement that enables businesses to recognise the gravity of the environmental crisis by publicly declaring a climate emergency and then committing to action. Following a really successful corporate career, Ben had recently made the bold and noble decision to leave corporate life in favour of committing himself to climate activism. And during our chat, Ben shared his story, and it left us with some brilliant tips for anybody really looking into purposeful careers as an option for themselves. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Helen Chambers. Hi, Helen, former head of home and travel insurance at the award-winning comparison site Moneysupermarket. Helen is now the impact director at innovative sustainability startup Giki. Helen's going to tell us a little bit more about Giki in just a second, but Giki is short for Get Informed and Know Your Impact. And they're a new tech startup providing employers and businesses the chance to understand, track and reduce their carbon footprint via an easy to use platform. So the platform uses the most scientifically robust carbon calculator available. And Giki's mission is to encourage more businesses to improve their sustainability through their people and encourage change through gamification. So it's a brilliant idea. And Helen, I wonder if just to start with, you'd be good enough just to briefly share your story with us and let us understand your motives behind your move from the corporate world into the wonderful world of sustainability.
Sure, thanks for having me on, Rob. So so I'll just tell you a little bit really about what I did previously and then how I've ended up here. So I've always worked in commercial roles, previously in retail, so first managing kind of clothing concessions, yes, a little bit of fast fashion, and then Iceland. So I worked at Iceland's head office as well. And then prior to this role that I'm in currently, for the last 11 years, I've worked at Moneysupermarket Group in various different commercial and partnership roles. I've always loved business, the way business works. I did business studies at college and I did business and marketing at university. I love working in business, and I've always been driven by a purpose. So in every role that I've been in, it's always been because there's a purpose behind it. So when I was at Iceland in the buying department, we were always tasked with make sure the quality is as high as possible for a price that our customers can afford. And we were always challenged to get out to stores. So Malcolm Walker, who was the CEO at the time, he was always like, get out the ivory tower, get into store, go and see how the real customers are struggling to actually put dinner on the table, and then go back and get me a high quality product that I can sell for £1. So, that kind of purpose was really motivational from that. Then working at Moneysupermarket, our purpose was to save people money on their household bills. So I found that really rewarding as well. We were talking about billions of pounds that we could present that we'd saved customers over the years. So again, really motivating and helped me to have that purpose in work. But over the years, as I learned more and more about the climate crisis, I really found the purpose of saving people money, although important, just wasn't strong enough pull for me. So at Moneysupermarket, I co-founded a green team, we're called Super Greens, and I felt that I could really start to make a bit of a difference there. So we started with things like reducing single-use things in the canteen and working with people on that. And then it grew over the years as we started to, more people found out about us and saw that, our passion started. We started to ask difficult questions. We actually ended up supporting the exec team on the company strategy to be net zero. So, I really felt like I could get involved there and learn a lot from that. But then I was kind of at a point where I was still, it wasn't my day job. So then in lockdown 2020, I first completed the carbon literacy training. So I don't know if you've done that, but the great basic for everyone, I think, really good foundation of knowledge. But then I did the CISL course, which I think you've done as well, Rob.
Yeah.
So, and that's the Cambridge Institute of Sustainable Leadership course, which was absolutely fantastic. And it was such hard work, especially when I was homeschooling 2 kids and had a full-time job. But it was so rewarding in terms of what I learned and achieved. And so it was really after that that I felt it was really clear that I couldn't do anything else than, I had to do this as my full-time work. I had to really support the climate crisis as much as I can. But I would say I was quite naive at that point to think that an 8-week course, however intensive it was, an 8-week course would help me then become kind of head of sustainability in any, just walk into a job. So I did feel quite disillusioned in that, oh my gosh, how can I get into sustainability? I'm so passionate and I've got core skills that I can bring to this. So I was just really lucky that Joe and James at Giki took a chance on me, really. So I looked for a job where I could take my key skills into a company that was a sustainable company. And I just kind of got across to them that I've got the passion and the drive to be able to deliver what they needed. So.
Fantastic. I mean, it's interesting just listening to your language, the way you describe, almost not having a choice once you'd decided, once you'd done the course and, you'd had that light bulb moment, it had to happen. I'm really interested, how has that journey since joining Giki, how has it changed your life?
Changed my life. Oh, that's very dramatic. No, it has changed my life. So I feel like I can, a couple of ways really. So I feel like I can be more my authentic self. So I've been so driven by the climate crisis for so long, and now I can actually, talk about it, live it, and do something about it in more of my time. So in previous roles, I think I felt I need to kind of put an armor on to be somebody else at work and to deliver what I need to do to get the job done. You might be surprised to know that insurance wasn't my passion, even though I worked in it for so long at Moneysupermarket. So working is something that I feel so strongly about. I feel like I can be myself all of the time, which is really good. It can sometimes feel quite overwhelming because and now I work in sustainability. I volunteer in my spare time on community projects. I read a lot of books and podcasts and listen to podcasts about the climate crisis, which I did all that before, but I wasn't also working in it full time as well. So it can feel quite overwhelming, but also I now know that all of the spare time I have and my full-time role, I'm doing something towards the climate crisis. So it feels like I don't feel that kind of thing that I had before, which was I'm not doing enough. I feel like now I'm doing as much as I can at the moment.
Yeah, good.
And I guess the last thing is just really that I now work fully remotely, which has its pros and cons, obviously. But before I did a lot of traveling, and I had to fly to Belfast every kind of other month, which I felt incredibly guilty about. Even though it was kind of on the works emissions, I still felt like, well, it's me that's going. And also because I work for a B Corp now, they really do deliver on their values. So they give you time off for green financing. So if you need to change your bank account to a green provider, they'll give you time off to do that. Wow. Also, they give you extra holidays for you to travel without flying. So they'll give they'll just say if you want to go on a holiday and you're going to not fly, we'll give you extra holidays for that. So it supports me to be able to make the right choices for the planet, basically, in my role. So, yeah.
What a brilliant way of tailoring the benefits package to make them more sustainable. So you're an example of somebody who has made a very conscious decision to leave your current employment in insurance in search of something completely new, whereby you could have that impact you were longing for. And it was clear to you that had to be outside your current organisation. But for those folk who maybe want to do more to tackle the climate change issue, but don't necessarily want to leave their current employer, what sort of things could they do internally to make more of an impact?
So I guess it will depend on the size of the organisation and the setup of the organisation. From my previous experience, setting up a green team, I'd say if there is one, join the green team. If there isn't, set one up. And if you do join it, or if you do set one up, go for the low hanging fruit first. So go for the things that you can just do now, make a difference, start to get other people involved, things that you can make an influence in now, because then you'll feel like you're doing something and you're doing something different. And then the harder stuff, you'll start to get involved in that. You'll start to meet more like-minded people. I was really surprised working at Moneysupermarket. And when we started to do, let's reduce the single-use stuff, I was like, I don't want to speak to the guys working in the food place, because I was like, I don't want them to think, this is another thing that they're getting me to do. And when we spoke to them, they were like, brilliant, yes, let's do this. This is what we want to do. We hate seeing all that single-use stuff. So, just speak to people and say, why don't we use rechargeable batteries over, normal batteries? And just start that, you start to have those conversations and people go, oh yeah, we can do that. So I'd say, if you can do that, do that. Also, if you've got it depends on the size of the organization, as I said, but if you've got a sustainability team, they might need support from you. So I just ask, is there anything I can get involved in? Is there anything you need support in? So, when I worked at Moneysupermarket, I saw so many people move into new positions just by volunteering in other departments. So, and I actually got a role I spotted a kind of area that no one was focusing on, that I thought, I'm sure we could do something here. It wasn't in sustainability, it was in the financial services area, and I just pitched, could I do this 2 days a week? I think I've got the capacity. Can I just take on this role, and pitched it, and so it might be things like that you could do. And I know, Giki has, we have ambassadors in all of the organisations that we work with, which we call Chief Greenies. So, and the Chief Greenies are just people who are passionate. So some of them might work in sustainability, some of them might work in, HR, it's with the employee engagement side of things, but a lot of them are just passionate people in the organisation who want to help and get other people involved. And so, there might be things like that you can get involved in. And if you don't think there's anything in work, then there's lots outside of work. There's so many charities and, voluntary organisations that you can get involved in. And then you can get teams in work to then volunteer as well. So I heard a great quote the other day. I think it was from Jen Gale on Sustainably podcast, and she said, quite often when we're doing things to reduce our impact, we don't see the results of them because we're just reducing our impact. We're turning off the lights, and no polar bear sends us a selfie saying, well done, you've done a great job, you're really helping. So sometimes you can just feel like you're doing things and there's no benefit. But actually, if you go and do a beach clean, or if you go and support planting a load of trees in the local park, then you can see those results, and then you feel like you're actually making a difference and doing something. So if you get work involved in that, then it's great.
I suppose it's a little bit like yourself, once you've made that, once the passion's grown to a point where you've made that mental commitment that you want to do something to make a difference, you start to see the opportunities then. And I suppose you do have to be a bit proactive, and I like your point around just asking, and I suppose you ask enough people the same sort of questions, then opportunities start to arise, don't they? So for people out there who might be feeling they're in a well-paid job, but maybe they're just a bit underwhelmed with work and possibly feeling a little bit unfulfilled, maybe like they aren't really contributing to tackling the world's problems, which are obviously mounting as we speak. What sort of advice would you give them in terms of how to start exploring more purposeful careers outside of their own organisation then?
Well, firstly, I'd say I know exactly how you feel because I've been there. But if that's not helpful, then I would say, firstly, I would say, and you'd probably agree, Rob, I would do the CISL course if you're lucky enough to be in that position. It's not a cheap course, but I just think if you can, then do it. I was lucky enough that my line manager at Moneysupermarket kind of found some training budget for me to do it because he could see me doing the green team stuff and knew how passionate I was. Not everyone will be in that position, but if you speak to people who've done that course or similar courses, people get so much out of it and they get different things out of it. And I've seen people go on to do so many different things with it. but it also helps you to build a network as well. And building a network is really key. And I don't sell CISL courses, in case you think I do. I'm just really passionate.
No commission, honest.
Yeah. And secondly, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, The Squiggly Career.
No.
No. So it's by Helen and Sarah Ellis, and it kind of looks at the modern career. As you can tell by the name, Squiggly Career, it embraces the fluidity between roles and industries, and how we don't just kind of go to uni now and learn a trade, or maybe not a trade uni, but you either learn a trade and you're in that for the rest of your life, or you go to uni and you study whatever it is and you're in that and you go up this ladder. Well, it's just not like that anymore. And if you speak to young people now, God, I'm making myself sound really old, but if you speak to young people now, they've got 3 different jobs and they just do all different things, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what I want to be when I'm older. Whereas I always felt like I needed to know what I wanted to be when I was older. Anyway, I'm going on off a bit, but this book was really, really good for me, because it helped me understand that actually you don't just need to go commercial manager, head of commercial director. If you want to grow yourself, you go into different departments and you have that kind of squiggly career.
Yeah,
it was really, really helpful for me for 2 main reasons. One was it really teaches that you've got core values, and I never sat down and wrote down what my core values were, but it gives you an exercise that you can understand what your core values are. And it really helped me to understand what my core values were and why I wasn't getting them from my current role, but also what I would definitely want from my next role to satisfy my kind of core values. And the second thing I took from it is that we all have super strengths. So acknowledging what those super strengths are and building your kind of brand, your personal brand around those super strengths, can really help you to take yourself into a different industry. So take yourself and go, actually, I've got all these strengths and all these abilities, and I can really deliver this for you. So for me, that's what helped me to kind of be able to take myself and put myself in a new industry, and with a completely new learning everything from scratch, really. But I guess speaking for myself, I knew to get into, and I think I've already mentioned this, but to get into sustainability, I knew that I'd have to just take my skills, and I wouldn't be able to step into a head of department role like I had before, or I wouldn't be leading the sustainability strategy like I'd led strategies before, because no one would trust me to do it, because I didn't know enough and I couldn't have done it. But I was just lucky enough that I guess Giki took a chance on me. But what I would say, finally, because I'm going on a bit, is that don't underestimate your passion and your experience, because the role that I'm currently working in at Giki was advertised for 7 years sustainability experience, and I had at the time 0 years sustainability experience, but I just had so much passion for needing to do something for the climate crisis, but and also taking I had the ability to take my super strengths and kind of put those across. So I think that's what really helped me. And
what were, just out of interest, what were the super strengths? What was it that got you the job over and above the 7 years sustainability experience?
My ability to kind of communicate and to build relationships, and my experience, I guess, in the commercial area of all the roles that I've done.
I suppose that's it's really inspiring for people that might not be currently working in sustainability, but that we do a lot of exec coaching with people going through career transition and wanting to do something different. They don't quite know what, and they don't really know where to start, and so they come to us for help. And one of the things we do is that values piece at the beginning, to really determine what's the thing that what are the most important ingredients, and that can take a bit of going through and soul searching. But reading, talking to people, potentially using a coach if you're lucky enough to be able to know one, or just spending time researching yourself, I suppose, to find out what's important. But I think when you land on that clarity, the answers then start to drop in, and you start to see opportunities. And there's a term we use as well called total immersion. So in other words, if you're trying to achieve something, how do you make it happen? You're not quite sure. Well, you totally immerse yourself in that goal, and whether it's reading, whether it's doing courses, you know, that mindset, that total immersion mindset, generally provides results. But yeah, I thought the CISL course was fantastic. It's a lot of work, isn't it? But it certainly changed my worldview having done it. I think we probably did it at a similar time, right in the midst of lockdown 1 or thereabouts, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Well, thanks ever so much for putting the time aside, Helen. Good luck with everything at Giki, and thanks for talking to us.
Oh, thank you.
All right.